I'm driving my dad's 2500 Silverado 2015 down to Dalton to pick up some flooring today, and it's a high country edition. It's pretty nice. He's had it for a while. It's got 287,000 miles on it. Runs fantastic. But his radio does all kinds of weird stuff. If you are familiar with this generation of Chevy, Silverado, Suburban, Tahoe, all that stuff, you might know what I'm talking about. Like the other day we went to Lowe's, and it switched itself to French, and then was doing other crazy stuff, changing radio stations. It's very common. Lots of people have had it. Even my 15 Suburban's had it, and my aunt's 17 Suburban's also has the same issue. I already fixed mine. I gotta fix my aunt's, but my dad's is a little different radio style, but it still does the same problems. It has, people call it phantom touches. It's like somebody's pushing buttons on the radio and just flips through all kinds of stuff. But I've got something off of TikTok to take care of that, and he's been dealing with it for like a little over 3 years. So I was trying to surprise him with the new radio, and I'll show you what I got. Do you or a loved one suffer from owning a 2015 generation Chevy that has a radio that likes to be crappy and push buttons on its own and change stations on its own and do a bunch of things that you don't want it to, and also not let you push buttons at times? Well, this is my dad's 2015 2500 High Country Edition, and I'm about to fix that by putting in this radio. This has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and all the cool things. This one does have Bose from the factory, so it does have one extra piece that I have to put in it, that's to allow it to communicate to the Bose amplifier. So I'm going to show you guys how to change this out. Actually, removing this radio is quite easy. I just took a flathead screwdriver, a little small one, a pry tool, and I went underneath here, popped that loose, and did it on that side, and then worked my way around, and it just pops the whole bezel off, just like this. And then you can unplug that, get that out of the way, and then there's 4 screws that hold in the radio. I think they're all 7 millimeters, and you just take those 4 screws out. After you take those 4 screws out, you just give it a good yank from both sides, and it comes forward, and you just have 3 plugs to undo, 1 for the AC, 2 for the radio. And we are going to take this AC control head off and put it into the new radio bezel that it comes with. And there we go, I got the AC controls in the new bezel. Actually, a good thing that you might want to do, maybe you don't have an issue with your radio screen, you just want a better one. You want to upgrade your screen. You could turn around and sell that screen on eBay and probably pay for this, because there's so many people who have issues with their factory radio on their 2015 generation of Silverado, even Suburban. My Suburban had the same problem, my aunt's Suburban had the same problem. So maybe you can just sell it and just need to do a free upgrade on your truck. So then I also took out the CD player, because that's not going to be used anymore. There's not even a slot for it on this new screen. Now is the tricky part begins, and it's not that tricky. It just looks like it's going to be super tricky, because you have this little harness connection stuff here, and then I've got a few harnesses laid out on the dash. It kind of helps to lay them out so you can see how they're all separated. This is the harness that plugs directly into the back of the radio, and there's different options. So there's this one here as well. One of them is for the 7-inch screen right here on top. The other option is for if you have the tiniest or the largest screen, which is funny that it's the two opposite ones, 4.2 inch or an 8-inch screen. So we have the 8-inch screen from the factory on this one, so we're going to use that harness and then start plugging things up. We will have to remove the lower glove box to access the backup camera connector, and then push, just kind of tap it in, or like splice it in there, plug 2 plugs together, and then run a cable to over here, and then take the steering wheel control or steering wheel cover off the bottom there, and we have to run wire over to here that it includes it all, and it shows you how to do it and stuff. That will allow the steering wheel controls to all work for the radio. Putting in the backup camera harness, pretty easy. You just take out the lower glove box, which is just 4 screws, one here, and there's 2 on the bottom. Have to have this open because it holds it in. And then you just come up here. There's this connector. It's kind of like this shape. It's up right next to that blue connector right there. And then you just run this wire over there and pull it out from here. Guys, just start plugging stuff in. It'll start making more sense. Trying to explain it is complicated. Trying to read the manual and understand it perfectly is also complicated. It has labels on them. Read the label, plug it into what it says, and then stuff will start making more sense as you go. For the steering wheel controls, you just pop off this lower cover. You also have to pull off your handle that adjusts the tilt. You just pull that, or use a pry tool to pull that off. There's no screws. This may or may not have screws. Mine did not. Some other people online did not. Some people did. If it is, it's a T15. Take those screws off. This connector right here is actually the worst connector so far to unplug out of any of them by far, because there's so much wiring right here trying to pull that down. Actually, you have a little bit of tilt, but be careful, because this is your spiral cable. If you crack that, you're gonna have to get a new one. So just put that connector in place right there, run this wire over to the center radio section. Man, trying to get that green cable up from the steering wheel controls was such a pain in the butt. I ended up using a zip tie and fishing it down through the dash and connecting it with some tape and pulling it through that way. I could not get it any other way. We're gonna see if everything is wired up correctly. I already did turn it on one time, and the speaker that it comes with was double audio chiming, the same that was, but offset. So I just unplugged that. I don't know if I'm gonna need it yet. So everything comes on, powers on like it's supposed to. Let's see if we can try and get some volume. So the steering wheel control does work. All right, we got it installed, plugged in. Everything is set back in place. Ignore the wires that are hanging down for a dash cam. Everything is working properly except for the sound. I didn't get one of the connectors that was supposed to come with it. This one right here for the A505 kit that you need if you have Bose. It did not come included with the kit, so I messaged them to see if they can get me one. It replaces where the CD player went. you take the CD player out and you plug this into that, and it jumps the sound past the CD player because you don't need it. I don't know if plugging the CD player in by itself would fix that by itself. I didn't try it. There's not enough space. Once you have all this in here and you have all those wires shoved back in there, there's so many wires that there's not enough space to have that CD player installed anymore. And I did leave the speaker. No, this is not why the sound doesn't work. I left the speaker off for now because it's just like a dinger or a chime, and it already has a chimer up in here somewhere in the dash. Maybe I need to unplug that one, I don't know, but I don't need two chimes telling me that the door's open or the key's in the ignition. Was finally able to get the little bypass harness piece from Eonon. They do have really good customer service. If you have any questions or you're missing something, just reach out to them. They'll get back to you as quickly as they can. It took about a week to get it, and just now got daylight to put it in. So I'm going to see if the sound works now. There we go, it works. So you got the volume control here. You can also use the steering wheel volume control. Now we're in business, y'all. So with it, you can also monitor your TPMS, which is really nice. It even has a warning system you can set up to where it'll monitor. You can change the units as well. You can monitor the tire pressure. It'll tell you if it gets too low, and the tire temperature somehow. I'm not going to test it, but pretty cool. Down here in the vehicle settings is where you find your AC settings to switch it to Fahrenheit up here. This is a regular tablet, basically, so it can run apps and stuff like that. You can add some, I believe. So you can have YouTube on here. I don't recommend doing that while you're driving, unless you're just trying to listen to like podcasts and stuff like that. It'd be pretty cool.